Alright everybody, and welcome to another video here on Philly Sports Network. The NFL draft is in the books, and so is our 3-day live stream. I think I wrote about 20 articles. I was live for close to 14 hours. Thank you so much to everyone who rolled through. If you didn't, don't panic, we're going to go over every single draft pick today. Now, I know it's quite hard grading draft picks, especially after they've only landed in the city approximately 30 hours ago. But what I want to do is grade the decisions made, the reasoning behind it, and obviously then the potential upside of the player. Because the Eagles, again, have targeted a very specific type of demographic here. They've gone after those uber-athletic freaks, but with a different sort of mentality, one that probably should have been employed last year. We're going to go over that in today's video. If you're new, make sure you leave a like, hit that subscribe button. It would be great if you could stick around. There's going to be plenty of film rooms over the course of the next few weeks. It'd be great to see you stick around and become a member of our community. Now, with that said, we're going to get on to the first pick, which is Devonta Smith out of Alabama. The Heisman winning wide receiver. Is easy to see the upside here. A former teammate of Jalen Hurts, someone that had 1,856 yards, that shattered Jamar Chase's 2019 receiving records, that saw him become the top receiver in the NFL draft. There are size concerns, and I get that, and I don't think we can hold that against Devonta Smith because he's far exceeded expectations to this point. If they're going to hold him back, I think they probably would have already. Yes, the NFL is a different beast, but what you see is a technician of a route runner, someone that is just absolutely clinical out of his breaks. He may be among the most violent route runners in this class, someone that can just stop on a dime, that can sell head fakes so well. He's a lot of fun to watch, and I think it gives Jalen Hurts a firm #1 receiver, someone he's familiar with. I like that about the pick. Then, when it was actually announced that he was a pick, my reaction was a little bit different. I kind of cringed up a little bit because in my head, it wasn't the perfect scenario. And then I quickly realized, you look at the way the board has fell, and at the end of the day, if Howie didn't make an aggressive trade up, he would literally be left with a plethora of offensive and defensive linemen and a reach at linebacker. They had to go up and secure their #1 guy, especially after both corners and Jalen Waddle went inside the top 9 picks. So with that said, I'm going to give this pick an A-. I hope that's not backwards. An A-. It might be backwards. The selection of Landon Dickerson. And this one, I don't know. I understand that if he didn't have injury concerns, he would probably be one of the consensus best linemen in this draft. Easily the best center prospect. It wouldn't even be a debate. But 3 season-ending injuries in 4 years at least caused some reason for a minor quibble. It's not great. It's a minor thing to worry about. It's not perfect, is it? However, I think that seeing him do cartwheels, see the man be an absolute cyborg, move as athletically gifted as we've seen in this class, and is probably the closest prospect to a Jason Kelce that we've seen. I like it. And the other thing to bear in mind is that last year, the offensive line was absolutely ravaged, and you had Jamon Brown pretending to play the role of right guard at one stage. To avoid going back there, if there are injuries now to Brooks, Sayamalo, or Kelce, you've got yourself a versatile prospect, one with an extremely high upside. If he can almost redshirt that first year, get himself fully healthy, then the Eagles could well have their Jason Kelce replacement. And is a second-round pick too high a price to pay for that? I don't think so. And he only allowed 1 sack in 825 snaps between 2018 and 2020. I like that. I will give this grade, though, for the sake that there are some causes for concern, a B-. And upside down, that looks like a little willy. So good. Milton Williams, Louisiana Tech. I really like this pick. I think Williams is a fantastic player to watch. My problem with it is, at the time the pick was made, it didn't seem like the most logical. Now, what the Eagles proceeded to do was stack up on defensive tackle options. In fact, they added one just 3 picks later in the way of Marlon Tuipulotu. But the other guys he added are like hybrids. Like, you can't tell, are they edge or defensive tackles, or they edge or linebacker. There's no clear role. This can be a blessing or a curse, but it does feel a bit Jannard Avery-ish. It's a freak athlete at a position of need who may not be able to fill a true 3-down defensive tackle role. I don't think Milton Williams is that. But he had 30 QB pressures in 2020, 10 tackles for a loss, and 4.5 sacks. He had 5.5 sacks in 2019. However you want to slice it, the Eagles did lack defensive tackle depth and they needed to add a guy in here. If you add in with a space eater, someone like a Javon Hargrave, a traditional nose, I think he could really feast and be a real weapon, maybe even on the outside. Maybe he's going to start a defensive end alongside Josh Sweat. At the end of the day, he's only 6'3", 284. So with that in mind, and the fact there is no clear role, but the fact that Eagles were so excited, but the fact that his athletic upside is literally that of a corner, I'm going to give it a C+. I actually just wrote CT there because I didn't do the... Now it's C+. That looks like a Christian plus. C+. That says capus. It's going well. Zach McPherson at cornerback out of Texas Tech. Love this pick. I love Zach's play. He's a feisty corner. I watched some tape on him on Saturday night. He got me a little bit flustered. I think the Eagles have a really talented guy here. Transferred from Penn State, didn't get much playing time, then burst onto the scene in Texas Tech, and 1 year later refined his skill set as a ball hawk. He'll start probably as a nickel corner. Don't doubt his size. I think he can play bigger than that and probably has the skills needed to play outside in this system. As a result, they ticked the team's biggest need with a player who could well be a steal. It's a B from me. Little bit of uncertainty about it. It wasn't a CB2, which probably would have given it an A from me, but I like it nonetheless. Next up, we've got Kenny Gainwell out of Memphis, and I love this pick. On the live stream, my reaction was that of sheer euphoria. This is, for me, the absolute best solution here for Miles Sanders. It is someone who is a receiving back. If you look back to Miles Sanders in 2020, yes, Carson Wentz couldn't throw to him to save his life. Sanders had some big drops. He was a lot less effective in space, a lot less effective on screens. This negates that and lets Miles Sanders be the LaShawn McCoy clone he is. You've also got a one-cut back who in inside zone concepts could just put his foot in the ground and go. I really like this pick, and for that, I think he's going to gain well. This is a B+. Marlon Tuipulotu out of USC was the next pick. I'm still going to struggle pronouncing that name, but if I can get Halapulavati Vaitai right, I should be okay. This guy is a 3-down defensive tackle. His stats don't jump off the screen, but he is a bigger boy and someone that is closer to that Javon Hargrave mold. I think with that in mind, it does contextualize the earlier pick. Now, I haven't seen a lot of his play, if I'm brutally honest, but if we're just going to go off the concept the Eagles needed defensive tackle depth, they needed someone to come in and just be that DT4, maybe behind Williams even, or Hassan Ridgeway. You can't go wrong. For me, this is a lovely C+. Tyron Jackson, Coastal Carolina. This guy screams production. Again, he's a bit lighter, 6'2", 280, very similar to the height of Williams, which may lead me to believe he's gonna play in an edge role, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But this is someone that had 12.5 tackles for a loss and 9.5 sacks in 2019. He bettered the TFL in 2020, had a similar sack number. I think he's gonna take Vinny Curry's snaps almost instantly here. There's a lot to like. He's gonna be very fun, very explosive off the edge as a freak athlete. As a result, we're going to give this one a B+. This is a tremendous get late in the draft for the team. It's another Willie pick for me. Kobe Stevens out of LSU. A lot of people saying this is like a more linebacker-built Jalen Mills, someone that, of course, former safety at Louisiana. But more than anything in the world, I think Jacoby Stevens is going to replace, I hate to say it, Nate Gary. Of course, former Nebraska safety, moved down to linebacker, bulked up. Stevens shows many of those same traits. He played all over the field at LSU. I think he's going to be in competition with Kayvon Wallace, probably work underneath him and be that box safety. He's a hard hitter. He's got a nose for the football. He makes plenty of plays in the backfield. I think for a safety position that really lacks any long-term certainty, it's a B-. And finally, Patrick Johnson. He was drafted out of Tulane as a linebacker and an edge. Again, the Eagles needed some edge depth, but they drafted him as a linebacker despite NFL.com saying his pro comparison is Derek Barnett. That to me seems a little bit funny. He ranked second in the FBS with 10 sacks. He had 14.5 tackles for a loss. Again, production heavy, late round. There's not a lot you can dislike here. I'll give it a B-. And what would I give the overall grade here? The Eagles have drafted super athletic prospects. They really hammered that home. They started to last year, and I don't think they gave their coaching staff enough time to figure it out because they were conflicted. Half wanted to rebuild, half wanted to challenge for a Super Bowl, and it meant that the last few drafts they were reaching really aggressively for players that maybe they shouldn't have done, and that's been problematic. But then you remember guys like Davion Taylor. You combine that with this super athletic class, which goes on the back of Watkins and Hightower power last year, and you're giving new coaches a chance to work with these project players over 3 to 4 years. We can't really give a firm grade right now, but over the next few years, I think we certainly can. There's a lot to like. For now, it is going to be another Willy pick. It's B- from me. What would you guys grade each player? What would you grade it overall? Let me know down in the comments section below. Plenty of content coming up from myself, Liam Jenkins. Enjoy your evenings. I'll see you soon.